Good morning, everyone. My name is Tammy Sadler-Jones. I'm the City Administrator, and I'd like to call to order the License and Variance Board meeting for Wednesday, August 22nd, 2018 at 10 o'clock a.m. Board members present to my left is Roy Acree, the Fire Chief, and to his left is Eric Randall, the City Engineer. Elsa Thompson is the Administrative Services Coordinator, and she will be taking the official meeting minutes. First item is a public hearing, privilege license request LIC 2018-13, beer and wine package, 2670 Cobb Parkway, Walgreen Corporation, DBA Walgreens, number 5902, with Matthew James Connor as the agent. Is Mr. Connor here? Please step to the podium. And for the record, can you state your name?
Matthew Connor.
Okay. And Mr. Connor, have you received a copy of the city's alcohol beverage ordinance?
I have.
Okay, and have you read it, and do you understand it?
I do.
And do you agree to abide by the ordinance?
I do.
All right. And you've completed the responsible alcohol sales class?
I have.
All right. And what steps do you have in place to make sure that alcohol is not sold to underage persons in your store?
Okay. So the first thing we do when we bring in, any new hire, is we make sure that they come to the city of Smyrna for their alcohol selling permit, so that they're approved by the city to sell alcoholic beverages within the city. From there, once they get back with that, I review what I learned at that alcohol training, review the pamphlet with them so they understand the consequences and the responsibilities associated with selling alcohol within the city of Smyrna. And, the second step to that is they have a internal Walgreens online class that actually goes into depth on sort of the same things, but from a Walgreens perspective. So by the end of that, they really understand, what their role is for selling alcoholic beverages, what the responsibility, what the consequences are if they don't do it, sell packages lawfully. So that's pretty much, what we do on that end, and then it's just ongoing coaching where we see fit.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
I just had a couple. Good morning, Mr. Connor. How are you?
Good morning.
So, have you ever been the registered agent for a facility like this before?
I have not.
Okay. And you mentioned some of the internal practices, and I'm sure policies, and that's encouraging. What about your point of sale system? Does it require the entry of a date of birth?
It does. So once I bring in a new hire and put them in our point of sale, it gives it gives a date of birth, and then it also gives I have to select if they're able to sell alcohol, and then I can actually put in the date for the permit expiration date too. So that'll help me maintain compliance. As far as the selling permits in Smyrna.
Okay. And what is your role, just for the record, at this facility?
I am the store manager.
Okay. So do you manage multiple stores, or you're the store manager of this location?
Just that location.
Okay. And what are your typical, are you typically there 40 hours a week, that kind of thing? Or
I'd say probably closer to 50.
50. Okay. That's all I had. Thank you.
And following on Roy's, what is your regular schedule? Are you daylight hours? Do you go over in the night? Do you move back and forth?
So typically for me, I'm 4 days a week. I'll do between 7:30 and 5. I'll typically do one night a week, which is somewhere between like 11 and 8. And then 2 to 3 Saturdays a month, I'll work 8 to noon, like a half day on Saturdays.
So in your absence, who's responsible for the store, and who would be responsible for enforcing this?
I have 3 assistant store managers, as well as 3 other shift leads that are, on my leadership team at the store.
Mm-hmm. And what's your personal experience with selling and checking and so on? You ever been a waiter?
I've not been a waiter, but I certainly, with the classes and the studying that I've done, I know that it's a big time responsibility, and I know it's up to me to maintain that compliance within the store. So it's something definitely I take seriously.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Connor, do you understand that the Smyrna Police Department from time to time does undercover investigations, and if anybody at your store sells to an underage person, that they'll be taken to jail immediately?
I do.
Okay, all right. A background investigation was done by the Smyrna Police Department, and it revealed no information that would preclude issuance of this particular license. So with that said, this is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak regarding this issue, please step to the podium at this time. All right, seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
A motion to approve LIC 2018-13 public hearing for privilege license request for beer and wine package 2670 Kyle Parkway, Walgreen Corporation, DBA Walgreens, number 5902, with Matthew James Connor as agent.
I second the motion.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve privilege license request LIC 2018-13. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V18056. Allow rear setback reduction from 35 feet to 16 feet for an addition to a single-family residence, 0.30 acres, land lot 705, 2659 Knoll Road. Renato Maldonado is the applicant. Can you step to the podium, please? And for the record, can you state your name?
Good morning. Renato Maldonado.
Okay. Can you please tell us about your variance request?
I got the house, and the house is in a weird position. It's in a corner lot, and it's not facing either street. It's just sideways. And I like to add a kitchen in the back and a two-car garage. And in order to do that, we're going to have to go. The only way to do it is on the back. And that's what I'm requesting.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? All right. Well, if you can just have a seat on the front row, we'll have our staff, Joey Stobbs from Community Development, make comments.
Joey Stobbs, Planner 2, Community Development. I should say there's a typo in the item. It should be setback reduction from 30 feet to 16 feet. The rear setback is 30 feet.
Okay, 30 feet.
Which is in my memo, but I mistyped in the heading.
Okay.
As the applicant stated, this is a corner lot. The house is facing the intersection, so it's not facing one of the roads, which puts it at a weird angle on the lot. They're proposing to build an addition to the single-family home, and due to the current configuration of the house and the lot, it would need a rear setback reduction to 16 feet. We've analyzed the request and have not heard from any complaints from adjacent properties. We recommended approval with one condition. Approval of the requested variance shall be conditioned upon the development of the property in substantial compliance with the site plan submitted with the variance application.
And for the applicant, do you accept the one condition as stated?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Any questions for the staff? Okay.
Haven't looked through the application closely. What does this do to the impervious area on the site?
I don't know if I have that calculation.
Offhand, do you know, is it below the 35% for R15?
We can confirm that, but based on looking at it, it looks below 35%. The majority of the front yard is undeveloped.
So this is, so there's not currently a garage there, so it's just the front walkway. Is there a driveway or a carport there, and is that getting replaced?
Is there a current driveway? And where is the driveway? I'm going to put the car, the two-bay garage.
Okay,
Exactly where it is right now.
thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak regarding this issue, please step to the podium at this time.
Good morning. My name is Frida Castleberry. I live at 2600 Knoll Road. I would just like to know what the condition is for you. building to the rear of the house. I know they said it was one condition.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
We can read it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It basically just says that the applicant would have to actually build it in substantial compliance with the way that he submitted the application. That just means he's given us an application with a plan, and he has to build it according to that plan. He can't build something else.
Okay.
That's the one condition.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else would like to speak? Seeing no one else, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
I make a motion to approve variance request V18-056 to allow rear setback reduction from 30 feet, as corrected, to 16 feet for an addition to a single-family residence, 0.30 acres, land lot 705, 2659 Knoll Road, Renato Maldonado, the applicant.
I'll second that with the addition to include the one condition as read onto the record by staff.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V18056. All in favor, please vote. All right. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V18015, allow rear setback reduction from 20 feet to 15 feet to construct a deck on a single-family residence, 0.21 acres, land lot 596, 3356 Fieldwood Drive. Jason Wallace is the applicant. Good morning. For the record, can you please state your name?
Jason Wallace.
Okay, Mr. Wallace, can you tell us about your variance request?
Absolutely. There's an existing deck. We live at the bottom of a cul-de-sac, and our property is kind of pie-shaped. And we want to increase the size of that deck. And really the only way to do it is to have a small portion of that deck extend into the setback. About a 10-foot section of the deck would go to the 15 feet. The remainder of it would be behind the setback.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay. All right. At this time, Mr. Wallace, just have a seat on the front row, and Joey Stobbs will be making comments.
It's variance request V18057, 3356 Fieldwood Drive, to allow a rear setback reduction from 20 feet to 15 feet for a rear deck. As the applicant stated, this is a pie-shaped lot with an existing single-family home. There's a deck on the property. They're wishing to expand the deck, and the only suitable area to expand the deck is within this 5-foot section of the rear setback. There appears to be a drainage easement on the rear property line, which, as proposed, it stays clear of that drainage easement, so there should not be any issues. There have been no complaints from adjacent properties, and we've recommended approval with our same standard condition. That approval of the requested variance shall be conditioned upon the development of the property in substantial compliance with the site plan submitted with the variance application.
Any questions for the staff? All right. Mr. Wallace, you have an HOA in your community?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, will they be reviewing?
I actually had that reviewed prior to submitting the variance.
Okay. All right.
They're only they approved it. Obviously, that's why I'm here. But ultimately, we plan to put in that section that goes into the setback a hot tub, and their only condition was that it be somehow screened, which we plan to do.
Okay. All right. This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak regarding this issue, please step to the podium at this time. All right. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
A motion to approve, variance request V18-057 to allow rear setback reduction from 20 to 15 feet to construct a deck on a single-family residence, 0.21 acre, land lot 596, located at 3356 Fieldwood Drive, for Jason Wallace as the applicant, with the one condition as read into record by staff.
I second the motion.
And Mr. Wallace, do you accept the one condition as stated?
Yes.
Okay. It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V18052. All in favor, please vote. All right. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next item is a variance request V18058. Allow second accessory structure for a single-family residence, 0.24 acres, land lot 4491010, Powder Springs Street. Kurt and Lisa Poling is the applicant.
I am. My name is Kurt Poling.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Poling. Can you tell us about your first variance request?
The first variance request is for a site-built, less than 200 square foot garden shed that will be modeled with similar materials of the house.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
So the existing accessory structure is, the way I understand, it's like an outdoor fireplace.
Correct.
I
It's
think. So
already built. It's a
that's
outdoor
already there.
fireplace. Mhm.
Okay. So it looks like, according to your application, you're doing a pretty nice and substantial landscaping project in the back, and so this secondary structure would be like a small shed, gardening shed type thing.
Yeah, 11 by 1600, 200 square foot, and it will be landscaped nicely.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Poling, if you can just have a seat on the front row, Joey Stobbs from Community Development will make comments.
Applicant's requesting a variance at 1010 Powder Springs Street to allow a second accessory structure for a single-family residence. There's already an outdoor fireplace. Applicant is requesting a garden shed in conjunction with the landscape project to the rear of the property. So given that there's already one accessory structure, they need a variance approval for the garden shed. We've not heard any complaints from adjacent properties, and we recommended approval. Two conditions, one that applies to the second request, but I'll read them both. Approval of the subject property for the requested variance shall be conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan submitted, and two stormwater management plans are subject to approval by the city engineer.
Any questions for the staff?
Educate me, Joey, if you would, please. Are accessory structures exempt from any of the setback requirements? Are we good with 5 feet from the back line and 10 feet from the side?
Correct. Accessory structure has a 5-foot rear setback and the same setback as a primary structure, so 10 feet.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. If anyone has any comments about this issue, please step to the podium at this time. All right. Seeing no one, I'd like to...
I'm sorry, Mr. Poling?
Go ahead.
Hi there. I'm Eric Randall. I'm the city engineer.
Yes, we've met.
So we'll have conversations about this.
Yes, we've met and had preliminary discussions already.
Yes. And so just as a kind of a nuts and bolts thing, we'll make sure that during the actual plan review, you'll submit plans. I see the calculations that are in support of this. I'll be looking for a few more details of how is this constructed and so on. And we'll make sure at that time that everything works from an engineering standpoint.
Glad to provide. It's important that it's done right because I don't want problems either.
I appreciate that perspective. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion, please, for the first variance request.
For variance V18-058 to allow, I make a motion to approve variance request V18-058, allow secondary accessory structure for single-family residence, 0.24 acres on land lot 449 at 1010 Powder Springs Street. Kurt and Lisa Poling applicants with the two conditions as stipulated.
I second motion to approve.
Okay, and Mr. Poling, for the record, do you accept the two conditions as stated?
I do.
Okay. It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V18058. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V18059. allow an increase in impervious coverage from 35% to 43% of total lot area, 0.24 acres, land lot 449, 1010 Powder Springs Street, Kurt and Lisa Poling. And if you can tell us about this variance request.
Again, my name is Kurt Poling. The variance request is for impervious. We're currently at 35%. With the additional concrete, it'll go up to 42. But having worked with staff, I'm going to reduce it to 20 by putting in a rain garden, which basically is a tank in the ground that's got holes in it so it catches the water and returns it to the natural aquifer. So that'll reduce my impervious to 20.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
Not at this time.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have Joey Stobbs make comments, please.
Applicant's requesting a variance at 1010 Powder Springs Street to allow impervious surface increase from 35% to 43%. This, before the improvements, the property was at 35% impervious coverage. So with these improvements, it'll increase to 43%. The applicant has provided a conceptual plan that will mitigate the additional impervious area. And based on that, we recommend approval with the same two conditions: that subject property for the requested variance shall be conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan submitted, and then two, that the stormwater management plan is subject to approval by the city engineer. Just because at this point it's sort of conceptual, we want to make sure that it works and functions properly.
Okay. Any questions for the staff?
I do not.
Okay. And Joe, I did hear that the two conditions apply to this one as well. Okay. Mr. Poling, do you accept the two conditions as stated?
I do.
Okay. All right. This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak regarding this issue, please step to the podium at this time. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
I'll motion to approve variance request V18-059 to allow an increase in impervious coverage from 35 to 43% of total lot area, 0.24 acre, land lot 449, 1010 Powder Springs Street, for Kurt and Lisa Poling as the applicants, with the two conditions as read into record by staff.
I second the motion.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V18059. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Next item is approval of the minutes for the August 8th, 2018 License and Variance Board meeting.
Speaker helps, or microphone helps. I make a motion to approve the minutes from the August 8th, 2018 License and Variance Board meeting.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve the August 8th, 2018 License and Variance Board meeting minutes. All in favor, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. I'd like to declare this meeting adjourned at 10:23 a.m. Thank you.